Hi, parents. Do you sometimes feel frustrated that no matter what you say, it doesn't translate into an understanding in your child? Do you have difficulty giving instructions, making yourself and feeling yourself heard by your child? So, I want to talk to you about something that we all struggle with at times, getting through to our kids, especially when it comes to improving their behavior. And what I'd like to share with you is some of my perspectives on how we should communicate and thinking about it in a more simplistic way. So let's face it, we all feel like we're talking to a brick wall. And no, you're not the only parent that feels this way. So don't feel that you are an inadequate parent. This is something that we all go through. Whether your child has ADHD or not, the struggle to communicate effectively is something that we all face. So let's talk about the power of simplicity. Now, there's a secret sauce, if it were, simplicity. Just think about it, simple. Yes, you heard me right. Simple is the key. Just as adults need simple, straightforward messages to make sense of things, children are no different. So, what I want to help you understand is that, you know, if we think about how we try to make things complicated, we've got this idea in our own minds as to what we want to say. And I've had the privilege of working with many young little patients and their parents. And I can tell you, when we break things down and break instructions down into simple steps and tie them together with immediate rewards, the magic happens. And that's what I want to share with you. So I'm going to share with you some real life examples of exactly what I mean. And I'll share you a quick story of a young child who had to stay in hospital. They had a severe infection. And this child had a lot of difficulties with their treatment, had difficulties taking their medication. And it got to the point where they were in hospital because they couldn't take medication. They were vomiting. They couldn't keep it down. And yet, in order for me to send that child home, and of course, the parents were frustrated and, of course, desperate to get home. As soon as that child could take the oral medication, then they could get home and, of course, carry on their treatment. But getting there was a real hurdle. We turned this around by making the instructions straightforward and trying it to be an immediate consequence and immediate reward. So going home with the family, guess what? The child was back within 48 hours. We helped that child understand that in order to get home, to be with their friends, to be with their siblings, to be with their dog, we had to kind of connect what it would take in order for that child to get home. And, we use the kind of term when and then. When you do that, then you can have that. When you take your medicine and you can swallow them, then you can go home. Every one of us wants something out of life. We get out of bed and are motivated by something. So what is it in your life that you kind of make yourself do the things that you don't want to do, that are difficult, to get through that inertia, to get to that point where you're starting to do what you've got to do? And then you give yourself a reward. Maybe you've got to do a lot of housework. You've got to do lots of chores around the house. And you reward yourself. Well, when I do that, I can sit down, have a drink, have a cup of coffee, tea, or watch your favorite show on TV. And children are no different. So let's talk about ADHD and simplicity. For children with ADHD, this strategy becomes even more important. They crave simplicity. They need immediate rewards. They live in the world of now. They don't have a long-term consequence. Their reward center is very small. The payoff has to be big and now. And the consequence to not do something has to be even bigger. So the closer, the more immediate the reward, the more effective it is. And of course, teachers apply this principle in classrooms, and so should we at home. So let's talk about what your action plan could look like. So this is what you should do. Pick one or two behaviors that you want to change. Don't try and change everything. You want to see your child change immediately. Maybe it's getting ready in the morning, getting dressed, getting out of bed, getting dressed and organized to be in a state to be placed in the cart and be dropped off at school. Break it down into very simple steps. Tie it to an immediate reward. I've often had parents talk about, if you do well, you get 70s or 65s, and you get a B or an A. I'm going to get you something at the end of the year. I'll buy you a new laptop. You'll get you a new PlayStation game. That's far too much in the future. That is not something that's going to motivate. The younger you are, even young adults, your timeline is very, very immediate. You can't get yourself thinking too far into the future. And children are no different. So remember, kids are motivated by the present moment. Their rewards should be immediate. So the bottom line, there you have it. Simplicity is immediacy. These are the best tools in a parenting toolkit. So I hope that helps you understand that, it's something that you've got to change your mindset. Think about simplicity, immediacy, and change one or two things. Don't make it complicated. Look at the big picture. As you master and your child can master the simple things, you can build on and make it more complicated the older they get. And remember, we're all on this journey together. There's no one that's different. We've all been there. So here's to a more effective communication with your young ones and a happier life for all of us.